Absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being and is going to pay.
I just said that it seems very odd and strange when you watch those videos with Diddy and Justin Bieber talking.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
Bieber, just looking at his body, I ain't no body language expert, but he just seemed very uncomfortable.
Justin Bieber's camp is finally responding. So his representatives told TMZ, quote, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve.
I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on.
Are we going to see some celebrity or celebrity friends testify at this trial?
It started with a knock at the door that shattered the silence of an ordinary March morning. Federal agents, weapons drawn, surrounding mansions in Los Angeles and Miami.
I mean, just think about how young I was and so impressionable. And you have everybody telling me how awesome I am at all times, and
It's like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets.
Right.
And just saying, I'll be back in 2 days.
Exactly. I just want people to understand, the psychology behind why I potentially could have problems in my life.
So a lot of people watching this have probably seen this swirl on social media about the connection between Justin Bieber and Diddy.
Right.
This has been going on actually for years, where people have wondered what kind of a relationship did they have, and really what people are asking is, did Diddy Justin Bieber?
Okay, I have to trim that. He said people are asking, did Diddy Justin Bieber? I had to trim that out. Just letting you know, I don't know what else is going to be said in here. But that had been the rumor, that had been speculated, and a lot of people are just trying to figure out, is that tied to the connection of him spiraling, and it just seemed like he's very depressed out there in public, and it seemed to be heightened when all the news about Diddy came out. So that was the connection.
No, it can't be, because one of the biggest questions in the Diddy trial is what other celebrities will be named, who participated in the freak-offs and who witnessed the freak-offs. I mean, Diddy's white parties are infamous. And one of the victims that people have been talking about for about a year and a half now has been Justin Bieber. And now finally, after week 1 of trial, when we know that Don Richard is the next witness and we're going to start hearing who the government thinks is going to help corroborate their case, and we are not going to hear from Justin Bieber. And it really goes back to a video when he was about 15 years old, when Combs said he was going to spend 48 hours with Justin Bieber. And that's when all the speculation began. Bieber's camp didn't say anything until now, but I think it's important that he did. And he also, like many celebrities in Hollywood, want to stay as far away from the Diddy trial.
For Sean Diddy Combs, decades of carefully constructed power and influence collapsed in an instant as the FBI seized evidence in a human trafficking investigation that would shock the entertainment world. The music mogul who once seemed untouchable now sits in a cell, leaving everyone wondering, who else knew? And why did they stay silent for so long? You deserve to know what really happened. I'm working hard to build this channel, and I truly love your help. Why not hit subscribe and be part of this journey? The walls came crashing down around Diddy's empire on March 25th, 2024. As dawn broke over Los Angeles, federal agents executed coordinated raids on his properties, their flashlights cutting through darkened hallways of luxury homes built on decades of hip-hop success. The raids weren't random. They followed months of investigation after his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit containing disturbing allegations of abuse, trafficking, and intimidation. What began as a civil lawsuit quickly escalated when prosecutors unsealed a federal indictment charging Diddy with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. The allegations painted a picture not of isolated incidents, but of a systematic operation spanning years, one that allegedly used his business empire, Bad Boy Entertainment, as cover for more sinister activities. Did you know that federal prosecutors collected over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant from Diddy's properties during the raids? This seemingly bizarre detail became a cornerstone of the prosecution's case, allegedly tied to what they called freak-offs, organized sexual events that form the basis of trafficking charges. The entertainment industry reacted with a stunned silence that spoke volumes. Artists who had collaborated with Diddy for decades suddenly couldn't be reached for comment. Red carpet appearances were canceled, his social media accounts went dark. In the space of a day, one of music's most powerful figures became radioactive. But behind closed doors, whispers circulated that this was just the beginning. As more evidence emerged, one question haunted Hollywood. Was this just one man's crimes, or the first thread in unraveling something much larger? The name Diddy conjures images of opulence, influence, and calculated charm. For decades, he meticulously crafted his image, from the tailored white suits to the strategic appearances with up-and-coming talent. His annual white party in the Hamptons became the stuff of legend, attracting everyone from Leonardo DiCaprio to Martha Stewart, creating an illusion of respectability that few questioned. These weren't just parties, they were power displays. Invitations meant you'd arrived in the industry. Exclusion could signal career death. Behind the velvet ropes and security details, Diddy allegedly created spaces where normal rules didn't apply and where silence was the price of admission. The air at these gatherings reportedly carried the sickly sweet scent of success mixed with fear, a potent combination that kept lips sealed. Former attendees have begun speaking anonymously about the unspoken hierarchy at these events. At the top sat Diddy and his inner circle. Below them, established celebrities enjoying the privileges of power. And at the bottom, hungry newcomers willing to do almost anything to climb higher, their vulnerability mistaken for ambition. The lighting would shift from brilliant white to deep crimson as nights wore on, signaling a transition to what some now describe as the real party. Court documents reveal a sophisticated system of non-disclosure agreements, some allegedly signed under duress. Those who considered speaking out claim they received mysterious phone calls, reminding them of these legal obligations, or simply suggesting that accidents happen in this business. But as the federal case builds, cracks appear in this wall of silence. Former assistants, drivers, and party planners have begun cooperating with authorities. Text messages recovered from seized phones reveal frantic communications attempting to manage potential whistleblowers.
Yeah. So, I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, if she ever needs me,
Let's just say that Diddy didn't do anything to Justin Bieber. I'm just wondering, because of Justin Bieber's age at the time, did he have women? And when I say women, I'm talking about grown women come over and, you know what I mean? Because that would still be bad. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Another possibility could have happened.
Emails, the text messages, the words that she put, those words of affirmation. So to the extent that there are other victims, that's how the government's going to be able to overwhelm the defense here. And if it's a celebrity victim, even better.
See, here's the thing. I think about it, and I'm sure he didn't want to. I guess the idea is, not distract from the conversation that's being had, but to make a statement towards the end of the week, after opening statements, or towards the conclusion of Cassandra Ventura's testimony, when he makes a statement confirming that there were people harmed by Combs, does that signify to you that he believes the prosecution's case, or does he think it's beyond the criminal case and based on the accusations we've seen in the civil arena?
I think it's probably the former. And like you said, the key part of that statement was denying that he was a victim, but really talking about the other victims. And it wasn't alleged victims. He said other victims, well, through his spokesperson. So I think that is very, very important. This isn't a Michael Jackson type case where, celebrities are rushing to Combs' defense. Very few people are. And the fact that you have someone come out that really isn't 50 Cent or someone who, you know, is trying to make light of it or a documentary about it and really point the finger at Diddy, that's a big deal, Jesse.
The silence that protected this alleged operation for years is beginning to dissolve, revealing conversations that make even hardened investigators pause. What's emerging isn't just a story about one man's alleged crimes, it's about an ecosystem that may have enabled them, protected them, and profited from them. As one former associate put it, everyone knew something was wrong. We just didn't know how wrong. The grainy footage has circulated across social media platforms for weeks. A 15-year-old Justin Bieber, voice still high with adolescence, sitting beside a then 39-year-old Diddy. He's having 48 hours with Diddy, the music mogul announces to the camera, his arm draped casually around the teenager's shoulders. Where we hanging out and what we're doing, we can't really disclose. The teenage Bieber smiles nervously, eyes darting between the camera and his mentor. This video, once seen as innocent industry mentorship, now raises uncomfortable questions in light of current allegations. Online sleuths have compiled dozens of similar clips. Diddy bringing Bieber to parties, introducing him to celebrities twice his age, the teenager looking increasingly exhausted in paparazzi photos from these nights. The internet's obsession with these interactions has spawned countless conspiracy theories, some baseless, others disturbing in their plausibility. Did you know that Bieber's career took a troubling turn shortly after these encounters? The polished child star began exhibiting erratic behavior, legal problems, and substance issues that many attribute to typical fame pressures, but others now question if something more sinister contributed to his struggles. After weeks of swirling speculation, Bieber's representatives finally addressed the situation. In a carefully worded statement to TMZ, they clarified, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who are genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. The statement is notable for what it doesn't deny, and for acknowledging genuine victims. Bieber himself has spoken cryptically about his early years in the industry. In a 2020 interview, he reflected, "I mean, just think about how young I was and so impressionable, and you have everybody telling me how good, how awesome I am at all times. It's like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets and just saying, I'll be back in 2 days." The comparison rings differently now. As the case unfolds, many wonder if Bieber might eventually share more about what he witnessed during those formative years. For now, the tension between what's known and what's suspected creates a shadowy narrative that continues to unsettle fans and industry insiders alike. Still here? That means this story matters to you too. If you haven't yet, please tap subscribe. It would mean the world to me as we uncover even more. The entertainment industry creates a perfect storm of psychological conditions for exploitation. Young talents arrive daily in Los Angeles and New York, carrying dreams bigger than their bank accounts, facing a system where gatekeepers hold immense power over their futures. This power imbalance isn't accidental. It's baked into the structure of an industry that profits from fresh faces willing to do almost anything for a shot at stardom. Dr. Melanie Harrison, a psychologist specializing in trauma among entertainment professionals, explains, when someone controls not just your current job, but potentially your entire career trajectory, your brain processes criticism or requests from them differently than it would in a balanced relationship. The threat feels existential, not situational. This neurological response creates fertile ground for exploitation. What makes Diddy's case particularly troubling is how vulnerability was allegedly weaponized.
From multiple people connected with Justin's life. We're told that he didn't really have any relationship with Diddy, that all of these videos are performative, and that Justin was friends with Diddy's 2 sons, but it really wasn't any kind of a relationship with Diddy.
Y'all feel what I'm feeling? Hold up. He said something very interesting in there. He said that Justin Bieber isn't a victim of Diddy's, but he didn't, you know, a lot of times when you hear them talk, and I even have to throw the word out there, but he said that Justin Bieber's team said there are other victims. He didn't say allegedly, right? He didn't say there's allegedly other victims. Also, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, if Diddy is saying or Justin Bieber is his team is saying that Justin Bieber was friends with his kids. Why isn't there any footage of that? You know, you just see Justin Bieber and Diddy, Justin Bieber and Diddy. You don't see Justin Bieber. I'm just saying, I ain't saying those videos don't exist. I'm just saying I haven't seen them. Any footage of Diddy's kids and Justin Bieber hanging out, having fun together. You know, to me, it sounded like Diddy was trying to take Justin Bieber under his wing, show him the industry, show him the ropes, show him all the stuff that comes with the fame, if you know what I mean.
There isn't. And the defense is obviously trying to separate physical harm from sex trafficking and sexual assault. But, you know, the average person who's watching isn't going to be making that distinction. That may matter in the case, but it's not going to matter in the court of public opinion.
And you know, Bieber's statement, it comes as this TikTok started floating around on Friday. There was a doctored image of Bieber where he allegedly announces that he's going to testify against Combs.
Court documents describe a methodical approach to identifying potential victims, those estranged from supportive family, those with financial struggles, those desperate for industry connections. These individuals weren't randomly selected. They represented calculated targets whose circumstances made them less likely to speak out. The cold metallic taste of fear keeps many silent long after abuse occurs. Victims describe a paralyzing anxiety about coming forward, not just fear of retaliation, but fear of not being believed. In an industry built on image and connections, an accusation against someone powerful often results in the accuser being blackballed, not the perpetrator. Did you know that trauma can actually rewire the brain's memory pathways? This explains why many victims recall certain sensory details with crystal clarity, the color of wallpaper, the scent of cologne, while struggling to reconstruct exact timelines that investigators and prosecutors demand. Perhaps most disturbing is how systems of enablers allegedly formed around the primary abuser. Court documents describe a network of assistants, security personnel, and business managers who allegedly facilitated encounters, delivered payments, and enforced silence. Many now claim they feared speaking up would end their own careers, creating concentric circles of complicity and fear that protected the center. As investigators peel back these layers, they're discovering that the crime wasn't just what happened behind closed doors. It was the elaborate architecture designed to ensure those doors remained closed, the voices behind them muffled by contracts, threats, and the crushing weight of power. The Diddy case doesn't exist in isolation. It's the latest in a troubling pattern that includes Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and R. Kelly. Each scandal follows a similar trajectory: years of whispered accusations, sudden public revelation, and the uncomfortable realization that many people knew, but few acted. This pattern has begun forcing a painful conversation about the systems that allow powerful figures to operate with impunity. There's always a network, explains former prosecutor Alicia Montgomery, who specialized in trafficking cases. The myth of the lone predator is convenient because it allows industries to avoid institutional responsibility. But these operations require infrastructure. People who schedule, people who pay, people who clean up, people who silence. That's what makes the Diddy case so potentially explosive. The case raises questions that extend beyond one man's alleged actions. How did major record labels, event venues, and talent agencies miss or ignore warning signs? Why did management companies continue directing young talents toward someone with persistent rumors surrounding him? The answers may implicate entire systems, not just individuals. Social media has fundamentally altered the equation. What once remained confined to industry gossip now spreads globally in minutes. Videos resurface, connections are mapped, and amateur sleuths compile evidence that sometimes outpaces official investigations. The court of public opinion moves faster than the legal system, for better and worse. Did you know that searches related to Diddy increased by over 7,000% in the week following his arrest? This digital scrutiny extends beyond one case, as users comb through decades of footage looking for other potential predators hiding in plain sight. For many survivors of industry abuse, watching the case unfold brings complex emotions. Some feel vindicated after years of being dismissed. Others experience renewed trauma as details mirror their own experiences. Many wonder if this case might finally create momentum for structural changes in how the entertainment industry operates. As one anonymous victim told reporters, the problem isn't just the monsters, it's the ecosystem that feeds them, houses them, and protects them. Until that changes, replacing one predator just creates vacancy for another. As Diddy's case moves through the federal court system, legal experts outline several potential paths forward. His defense team will likely challenge the credibility of witnesses, many of whom have their own complicated histories and potential motivations. They'll question why accusations surface now rather than years ago. They'll frame any encounters as consensual relationships between adults, regardless of power dynamics. Prosecutors face their own challenges. Building trafficking cases requires victims willing to testify publicly, an enormous ask given the high-profile nature of this case. Digital evidence may prove crucial, with investigators currently analyzing terabytes of data from seized devices.
Are we going to see some celebrity or celebrity friends testify at this trial? Pointing the finger at anybody. But there are those who I'm sure will say, if celebrities knew something, why didn't they say something? And by the way, that came up with the Harvey Weinstein case, right? People allegedly knew rumors about his behaviors, but rumors one thing, how much do you definitively know? What do you say to that? Because again, we obviously don't know who knew what. I don't believe this trial is going to sort through any of that whatsoever. I don't think we're going to be seeing big names either being named in this trial or even taking the stand. But what do you say to the argument somebody had to know something if these allegations are true?
Look, I think it's a fair argument, Jesse. This seems like it was one of the worst kept secrets in Hollywood. How can you sexually abuse or assault people for a span of years or decades and people not know, especially when a lot of this happened in hotel rooms or with other people around? This is the same arguments people make with respect to Weinstein or Epstein or other abusers. This isn't your typical sexual assault that is behind closed doors without other people present. That's one of the things that makes this case so unique. And look, there is going to be speculation and there is going to be rumors and there are going to be rumors. And that's what social media is all about. I mean, we saw some of the rumors dispelled this week when Cassie was saying, you know what, the baby oil didn't contain drugs. Even the government star witness is addressing some of these rumors on that witness stand. So I'm not surprised Bieber and his reps are doing the same.
And so we contacted Justin's reps and we kind of laid out what we found. And we said, look, this is what, multiple people have been telling us who were in his life, and are no longer, and also people who are in his life now. So we've talked to both. And I think that's really important because he's jettisoned so many people in his life. And they thought about it for a while and then contacted us back, and they actually gave us an on-the-record statement that Justin is not a victim of Diddy's. They said that there are other victims and they don't want to detract from them, but they said that Justin is not a victim of Diddy.
Sources close to the investigation hint at recordings that could potentially provide irrefutable evidence of criminal activity. The ripple effects extend far beyond one courtroom. Industry insiders predict a wave of additional lawsuits against both Diddy and entities that potentially enabled abuse. Major music labels have reportedly begun internal investigations into their past business relationships with Bad Boy Entertainment. Talent agencies are quietly reviewing their client protection policies. For celebrities who maintain close relationships with Diddy, the calculation is complex. Some have issued carefully worded statements expressing shock and distance. Others maintain complete silence, hoping their associations will be forgotten. A brave few have begun speaking to investigators, potentially trading their own immunity for testimony. Did you know that calls to entertainment industry helplines have increased by 43% since the case began? This suggests the impact extends beyond this single case, potentially unveiling broader patterns of exploitation. The most significant question remains unanswered. Will this case become a genuine turning point? Previous scandals generated momentary outrage before the industry returned to business as usual. But something feels different this time, perhaps because the allegations intersect with so many aspects of power, race, sexuality, and celebrity. The foundation feels shakier, the cracks more visible. As one entertainment lawyer anonymously noted, Hollywood has survived many scandals. But this one feels different because it potentially connects so many dots between powerful figures. If those connections become public, the entire power structure could be compromised. The truth about what happened behind those closed doors may finally emerge, not just about one man's alleged crimes, but about an entire system that may have protected predators while silencing victims. The entertainment industry we know may never be the same, and perhaps that's exactly what needs to happen. The night Diddy was arrested, a former associate reportedly said 4 words that seem increasingly prophetic as the case unfolds. The dominoes are falling. How many will topple before this story ends? Subscribe to join me as we continue following where the evidence leads, no matter how dark the path becomes or how powerful those it implicates.